Good day, my friends. Happy feast day of our beloved St. Padre Pio. For those who don't know him, he was a Franciscan priest who bore the stigmata for 50 years. He was born 25th of May 1887, died 23rd of September 1968, lived most of his life in San Giovanni Rotondo, was canonized in the year 2002. He bore the stigmata for 50 years, but they vanished shortly before he died, leaving no scars, although doctors will testify that during his lifetime you could place a pencil straight through his hand, yet no scars remained. He bled a cup of blood a day. He was often assaulted by the devil. On one occasion, the devil attacked him so fiercely that he said if it wasn't for Our Lady coming, he surely would have died. As a child, he could see and speak to Jesus, Mary, and the angels, and he believed everyone could, and those that said they didn't, he thought they were just being humble. He had miraculous gifts of healing, the ability to read hearts, know and predict the future, speak different languages that he never knew, talk with Jesus, Mary, and the saints and angels, and even bilocate, to be in two places at once. A funny story about being able to read hearts. He had a Freemason come to him one day and go into the confessional. The Freemason wanted to trick Padre Pio and so told him a lot of lies, just made up some sins because he wanted to test Padre Pio. But Pio turned and told that man every sin that he'd ever committed in reality. The man was so impressed that he left the Freemasons and became a Catholic. He could spend up to 12 hours a day in the confessional, and his Mass was quite spectacular because he would suffer with Christ during every Mass, and the Mass could take up to 3 hours. He had a lot of spiritual children, even during his lifetime. He used to write letters to them. One day, one of his spiritual children began to read one of his letters while walking through the countryside. But it was a windy day, and the wind took the letter out of her hand and down across a field. She ran after it, and suddenly it stopped upon a stone, just stopped dead, and she picked it up and continued reading it and went upon her way. The next time she saw Pio, before she even mentioned about the letter, he said to her, "Next time you read one of my letters in the open," he said, "make sure the wind doesn't get it. If I hadn't put my foot on it, it would have blown clear down the valley," he said. One of his spiritual children was a very well-known Englishman named Cecil Humphrey Smith, who has an OBE, by the way. He went to Pio one day and he was talking about his family, and he said that he had 1 son and 4 daughters, and Pio said 5. He said, "No, Father, I have 4 daughters." Pio said 5. And he said, "She will have a vocation." So Cecil went straight away and phoned his wife and said, "Is there any chance that you could be pregnant?" And she said, "Well, actually, I think I am." And she did have a daughter, and that daughter did have a vocation. She was a very good nurse. On another occasion, Cecil Humphrey Smith had a car accident, and he wanted to let Padre Pio know and ask for his prayers. He sent a friend down to the telegraph office. The friend sent the telegram to Pio asking for his prayers, but the man behind the counter gave him the reply immediately. Later, Padre Pio went with his friend to the monastery to ask Padre Pio how he could possibly have the reply there waiting, even though he hadn't sent the telegram. And Pio just simply said, "Do you think the angels are as slow as your airplanes?" In other words, Padre Pio had been informed of his friend's accident by the angels. He very often knew so much that was going on in the world, especially with his spiritual children. Padre Pio loved Our Lady, and he would pray about 30-odd rosaries a day. And he used to say, "Love Our Lady and make her loved." The Mass was the center of his life, the Eucharist, and he actually said that it would be easier for for the earth to exist without the Son than without the sacrifice of the Holy Mass. And everything that he lived for surrounded the Mass. Padre Pio was also a friend of those who suffer. If he couldn't procure a miracle for you from God, a healing, his words of comfort and hope kept you going. That is what happened to me during the many years of my illness. When I was bedbound, I lived by his words. A woman once came to him. She said, "Father, I have been ill for 30 years. I can do my duty, but only just and only in great difficulty and pain. Can God not heal me?" And Padre Pio said to her, "You have 2 brothers who are living a very immoral life, and you have other family members who are not living good lives." He said, "Your suffering is providing for them a conversion." And he said, "You will suffer for 2 more years, and you will save their souls, and then God will heal you, and they will be converted." And I think that that is such a great message for all of us to hear, because we all suffer at times. But to know that our suffering can have redemptive value in bringing others to Christ for him to save them is such a comfort. God bless, my friends.